So what's going on? In that profound moment, a new paradigm was born. The either-or behavior of the old response gave way to a shift in power, and the human being began to look internally instead of externally for reality. It was a profound moment in our life of centuries. At that moment, trust of self became a possibility. Job trusted himself. He had Job's comforters on one side. They were saying, tell him it's his fault. He shouldn't be doing this to you. The other said, tell him it's your fault. Beg forgiveness. He said, no, I'm not doing either one. So at that moment, he began to trust himself. That was the moment that everything changed. I'm calling this step a step on the way to scalar consciousness. Now, we each need to have our Job moment. When we let go of the Hegelian dialectic and inhabit a scalar space, or a scalar state of mind in the Supra-Brain, we too can get there. So how do we make use of this very complex puzzle? How do we put the hands and feet of our human self in this understanding? So let's once again go back to that 3 a.m. encounter with my demon. What happened? At the height of this experience, a solution appeared out of nowhere. This solution did not come from my thinking mind or my oh-so-ever wanting to be helpful ego. It came from another place. Suddenly, and it was sudden, I became aware of another presence, a powerful but neutral presence. It didn't come to my rescue, defend me, or take on the demon. It didn't agree with the demon either. It was just there. It was a witness. From some kind of knowing awareness came a set of instructions. Allow yourself to completely feel the emotions you were afraid of. The fear of being lost, the humiliation of feeling vulnerable, and the terror that you really are deficient. Don't fight it. Don't try to get rid of it. And don't judge yourself for it. And don't judge it. The pages are sticking together. Just totally feel it all, as completely as you can, and simultaneously allow the witness to be there. So I did. I felt a flood of feelings I was afraid of, as if they were absolutely real, with no reservation. I became a bag lady on the street. And in the same moment, I was aware of the witness. Then, that extraordinary thing happened that you already know. That deep, dark secret just dissolved. It disappeared in a flash. So in my practice, the next time someone was overwhelmed with anxiety or facing some depth work on a complex they've been working on for a while that was causing any kind of emotional turmoil, I suggested trying a new process that I was calling creating the table. Oh. Thank you. Would you like that table? Okay. I love that table. Here it goes. When something comes up, this is the table. This is the exercise that I began to use with people, to great advantage, I might add. When something comes up, either a severe emotional reaction, like an anxiety attack, that needs to be dealt with. Here, this is it. There are 4 steps to this table, creating this table. Step 1: imagine you are sitting at a round table, which becomes a container. Oh, I could use this. I'm new to technology, by the way. This table is a container. Now, invite whatever you're dealing with to come sit at the table with you. Look it in the eye. Don't try to get rid of it. Really, really sit across from it. Take it in, ask it questions, see what it wants, really be with it. Invite it to reveal itself in all of its complexes and complexities. Look at it from every angle that you can. This is different from analyzing it. Instead, you are deeply receiving it, instead of polarizing with it. If you try to get rid of it, you're actually stuck with it, because you are left holding one side and it's holding the other side, but wanting to get rid of it. When you hold both together, the whole encounter comes alive. That's step 1. Step 2, don't judge yourself for having it. As tempting as it is to judge yourself, or either side of it, don't do it. Because when you judge, or you let yourself be judged, you freeze it in time and it becomes a particle. You're saying, this is what it is, and that's the end of it. You have defined it, and now it's a thing cut off from the flow of life. Another kind of polarity paralysis. Step 3, don't act it out. That means stay with it. Resist the urge to do something else. Don't deflect the process. Don't flee the field. Stay put. There are hundreds of ways to act out. We psychologists know them all. Which ultimately means avoid the issue. Stay the course. Don't give up. Don't get angry. Don't go get a drink. Don't have an affair. Stay in the moment. Step 4. This is your Job moment. When you choose to fully allow the emotion of the issue to be there. In step 1, you were merely becoming aware of it. Now you are accepting it in. You are fully feeling it, being it. And I mean fully feel it. No matter how hard it is, no matter how much you want to turn away, don't do it. Don't believe you're too tired or too confused. That's a trick. Don't say it doesn't work. That's avoidance too. So as you're feeling it, as fully as possible, simultaneously allow yourself to be aware of the witness. It's always there if you allow it. Then, just be in the moment of the space between. And then, the potential is there for change to take place. For me, the suddenness felt shocking, and it seemed like magic when it disappeared. I now know that I had moved into what I'm calling a scalar state, and all the rules of the old belief system changed, and I was resonated and radiated to a new place. That place, by the way, has not gone away. So what does this mean in my therapy practice now? I'm still an analyst, even though I moved around the whole country. Tried my best not to be. First of all, I no longer have patients. I have partners. Secondly, we are all in it together. I no longer hold myself behind a therapist role, and there is no longer the old rules to follow. Same old rules. If something about myself comes up and it's relevant to the process, I put it in the process happily and openly. Thirdly, that has given amazing success because the old rules say that therapists do not talk about themselves, they do not share anything about themselves, and I'm finding that in this process, not just talking about yourself, but in this process, when you open up to yourself, you begin to get that connection between the opposites. Thirdly, I'm not trying to replace the traditional ways of psychology or get rid of them. They're essential along the way. They can come to the table too. All I'm asking for is a change of attitude. From a closed system of unbreakable rules to an open system of limitless possibility. In closing, I'd like to leave you with this. The other day, I was driving down 287, and it's very complex. Getting used to Boulder when you're from New York City where everything is on a grid is very difficult because you'll be going down one road and it's going east, and the next thing you know, it's going north. And it's like, what happened? So I was trying to concentrate, driving down 287 before it turned into something else. About that time, I looked out the window to the right, and there was a very vivid double rainbow that went from one end of the horizon to the other. I was shocked, and we don't see things like that in New York. Right? I was just like, oh my God, look at that, right? And it covered the whole sky. I've never seen that. There was not even a wiggle in it. It wasn't faded. Both of them were very, very vivid. In my Jungian world, this is symbolic of a new covenant. I think God made a covenant with God, and then that he wouldn't destroy the world again with a flood, and then the rainbow was the seal of that covenant. So I was obviously very touched by this message, because I do believe a new covenant is dawning. If we have the courage to let our old belief systems dissolve into newer ones and freer ones, the gold pot at the end of this rainbow is freedom, along with an inner support that no one can take away from you. That's the gift of becoming a scalar human being and living out of your Supra-Brain.